The crystal chandeliers of Preston Hall trembled as Richard Preston's voice echoed through our country club's grand ballroom. "Fire this dirty handyman immediately," he demanded, pointing at my coverall-clad figure, not realizing he was ordering the termination of the man who owned every brick in this building. Before I reveal how a 68-year-old real estate mogul taught his future in-laws the most expensive lesson about judging appearances, let me ask, have you ever watched someone destroy themselves with their own arrogance? My worn toolbox sat beside the golden founder's key on the mahogany table, both items telling different stories about the same person. The general manager, Thomas, stepped forward, his face professionally composed, but his eyes dancing with anticipation. "Mr. Preston, I regret to inform you that I cannot terminate this gentleman's employment." Richard's face turned scarlet, his designer suit suddenly seeming too tight. "Do you know who I am? I'm a founding member here." An interesting claim, considering I'd built this club 20 years before he'd bought his now overdue membership. "Actually," Thomas continued, his voice carrying across the now silent ballroom, "this man owns the building, the golf course, and every acre of land you're standing on." My son Michael's expression shifted from embarrassment to shock. His fiancée Charlotte's hand flew to her mouth. But Richard wasn't finished digging his grave. "Impossible! Look at him! He's been fixing toilets all morning!" I smiled, reaching for the golden key that only one person in the club possessed. "Yes, I have," I replied quietly. "I believe in maintaining what I build." The membership database glowed on my phone screen, showing their 3 months of unpaid dues. The same screen that could terminate their access with a single tap. Because sometimes, the best way to understand someone's character is to hand them just enough power to reveal who they truly are. Building a real estate empire teaches valuable lessons about human nature. My office atop Anderson Towers overlooks the same construction sites where I started as a laborer 40 years ago. The calluses on these hands built 50 luxury properties across 3 states, yet I still prefer wearing coveralls to designer suits. Each morning begins in my workshop, fixing things others might consider beneath their status. The country club stands as my proudest achievement, transformed from abandoned farmland into an exclusive sanctuary that now hosts society's elite. Michael never understood his father's habits. Growing up watching me repair broken fixtures, maintaining gardens, teaching him values through actions rather than words. "Dad," he'd question, "why do manual labor when you can afford an army of workers?" The answer lay in memories of my own father, a maintenance man who taught me dignity exists in all honest work. Charlotte entered our lives last spring, bringing the Prestons' influence with her. Their family boasted about social connections, yet my financial team's reports revealed mounting debts beneath their polished facade. Their membership application crossed my desk 3 months ago, Richard's signature bold and confident, his references carefully chosen, his bank accounts telling a different story. Today's engagement celebration marked their first major event at the club, an opportunity to showcase their assumed importance. The crystal ballroom sparkled under chandeliers I'd personally selected. The grounds manicured by staff who respected their boss for working alongside them. My weathered toolbox contained instruments that had built this empire, a reminder that true wealth lies in understanding the value of work. The golden founder's key represented more than access. It symbolized responsibility to maintain standards, preserve values, honor commitments. The security cameras captured Richard's daily behavior, his treatment of employees, his boasts about influence, his attempts to impress my son with promises of connections. Each interaction recorded, each attitude noted, each moment revealing character. The membership database tracked their financial delinquency. 3 months of unpaid dues, bounced checks, empty promises. Yet they continued arriving in luxury cars, hosting lavish parties, building a house of cards that would soon collapse. Because authentic success isn't measured by appearances. It's revealed through actions, demonstrated through respect, proven through consistency. Richard Preston's arrival at our country club that morning perfectly demonstrated everything wrong with new money attitude. His Italian sports car screeched to a halt in the founder's parking space, ignoring the reserved sign. The security footage captured his first interaction, berating a groundskeeper for daring to water plants near his precious vehicle. Charlotte introduced him with rehearsed elegance. "Daddy, this is Michael's father." His eyes swept over my dirt-stained coveralls, tool belt, and worn boots with barely concealed disgust. "Ah, the maintenance staff," he smirked, not offering to shake my calloused hand. The valet whispered warnings to other employees about this particular member's reputation for complaints and 0 tips. My phone silently collected data about his declining credit status while he bragged about fictional connections to club founders. "I practically built this place," he announced to anyone within earshot, unaware that the actual builder stood before him fixing a loose doorknob. The membership records revealed a pattern: bounced checks, late payments, increasing demands for special treatment. His wife, Susan's tennis instructor, quit last week after enduring one too many entitled outbursts. Golf pros requested transfers away from his regular tea time. Restaurant staff drew straws to avoid serving his table. Charlotte seemed blind to these red flags, enchanted by promises of social advancement. Michael remained silent, caught between loyalty and ambition. The security team documented 17 violations of club rules in just 3 months. Dress code exceptions demanded, staff complaints filed, parking privileges abused. Each incident adding to a comprehensive picture of character. Today's engagement celebration would showcase their pretense: renting luxury cars they couldn't afford, ordering wines beyond their means, inviting guests to impress with borrowed prestige. The ballroom reservation noted specific demands: premium tables, exclusive access, special menu items, all while their membership dues remained unpaid. Their financial records told the real story: mortgaged houses, leased vehicles, credit cards approaching limits, a facade maintained through increasingly desperate measures. The toolbox at my side contained more honest value than their entire performance. Years of practical knowledge, decades of earned wisdom, generations of working-class pride. Because true character reveals itself not in how people treat their equals, but in how they behave toward those they consider beneath them. The engagement celebration began precisely at 7, transforming our crystal ballroom into a stage for the Preston family's grandest performance. Guests arrived in luxury vehicles, each trying to outshine others with designer labels and borrowed jewelry. My position near a faulty air conditioning unit provided perfect observation of their theatrical entrance. Richard swept through marble doors like royalty, Susan draped in excessive diamonds, both ignoring the doorman's greeting. Charlotte's nervous glances between her father and my work clothes revealed growing awareness of impending collision. The evening seating chart placed them at table 1, directly beneath chandeliers I'd personally selected from Venice.
"This maintenance man keeps staring," Susan whispered, loudly enough for nearby guests to hear, her French manicure tapping impatiently against fine china. Michael shifted uncomfortably, recognition warring with social pressure as his future in-laws dismissed his father's presence. A waiter approached their table, one who'd witnessed me spending weekends teaching underprivileged kids to golf. "Sir, would you like me to remove this worker from your vicinity?" Richard asked pompously, gesturing toward my toolbox. The staff exchanged knowing looks, years of watching similar scenes unfold in these elegant halls. The general manager strategically positioned himself within earshot, anticipating the inevitable confrontation. Wealthy members who recognized me pretended not to notice, eager to witness another humbling of pretentious newcomers. Security cameras silently recorded every interaction, adding to an extensive collection of Preston family moments. The golden founder's key weighed heavily in my pocket, its presence a reminder of responsibilities beyond personal satisfaction. Charlotte's college friends arrived, immediately adopting their host's condescending attitudes towards service personnel. Richard's business associates clustered nearby, their own membership applications pending review on my desk. The evening's orchestra began playing softly, providing background music for this unfolding lesson in character. My phone discreetly displayed their mounting club debt, late payments stretching beyond acceptable limits. Each passing minute brought them closer to exposure, their carefully constructed illusion balanced precariously on borrowed time. Because authentic status never needs announcement. True wealth whispers. Real class shows through actions rather than declarations.
The membership database revealed darker truths beneath Preston's polished facade, while I pretended to examine ceiling vents. Their financial records painted a concerning picture. 3 consecutive months of declined payments, multiple returned checks, desperate attempts to maintain appearances. My phone silently compiled evidence. Complaints from 14 staff members about verbal abuse, security footage showing regular violations of club policies, increasingly aggressive demands for special treatment. The valet supervisor reported heated arguments over scratches on borrowed vehicles, while tennis instructors documented canceled lessons coinciding with bounced payments. Richard's booming voice carried across marble floors, regaling guests with tales of non-existent business successes. "This club practically runs on my recommendations," he declared, unaware that every word reached the actual owner's ears. Susan orchestrated her own performance, criticizing servers' techniques while hiding maxed credit card notifications. Charlotte's friends photographed themselves in restricted areas, breaking rules their hosts assured them didn't apply to VIP members. The Golden Founder's key felt heavier as each investigation revealed deeper deceptions. Golf Pro reports detailed handicap manipulation, convenient score adjustments, unauthorized cart access. Restaurant records showed disputed charges, claimed allergies changing based on menu prices, wine bottles ordered then complained about to avoid payment. Security cameras captured late-night arguments with staff, morning tantrums over tea times, afternoon demands for immediate service. The Preston's membership application now seemed a masterwork of creative fiction, inflated income statements, exaggerated business holdings, carefully crafted references. Their social media portrayed extravagant lifestyle images taken at our club, using borrowed luxury as backdrop for manufactured success. Private banking alerts indicated declined transactions increasing in frequency, while public boasts about wealth grew proportionally louder. Each passing hour added layers to understanding. Unpaid vendors demanding settlements, leased cars approaching repossession, mortgages entering dangerous territory. The toolbox beside me contained honest instruments for fixing physical problems, yet no tools existed for repairing character defects. Michael's expression shifted between embarrassment and revelation as his future in-law's true nature emerged through accumulated evidence. Staff members discreetly shared stories of endured abuse, each account contributing to a comprehensive picture of entitlement. The general manager's tablet displayed updated violation counts, while security footage archived growing examples of behavioral issues. Because sometimes, the most valuable investigation reveals not just financial status, but the bankruptcy of character beneath expensive facades. The evening's pivotal moment arrived during dinner service when Richard Preston's carefully constructed facade began crumbling beneath its own weight. "Remove this maintenance person from our site," he commanded loudly, pointing toward my toolbox with obvious disdain. The crystal ballroom fell silent as guests turned to witness his theatrical display of assumed authority. Susan joined the performance, waving her empty wine glass while commenting, "Good help must be impossible to find if they let workers mingle with members." Charlotte's face flushed deep red, finally recognizing the growing disaster unfolding at their table. Michael stood frozen, watching his future father-in-law dig an increasingly deeper social grave. "Perhaps this handyman could learn proper etiquette," Richard announced to surrounding tables, his voice carrying across marble floors. The general manager approached cautiously, years of experience evident in his measured steps. "Sir, about your membership status," Thomas began quietly, tablet displaying overdue payment notices. Richard exploded, face turning purple with indignation. "How dare you question my standing here?" Security cameras captured every second as he launched into a tirade about his imagined importance. "I've brought more business to this club than anyone," he shouted, unaware that actual members were exchanging knowing glances. Susan attempted damage control, fumbling through her designer purse for credit cards they both knew would decline. The golden founder's key felt particularly heavy in my pocket as their public meltdown intensified. Charlotte's friends stopped taking selfies, suddenly fascinated by their expensive plates. Golf pros who'd endured months of abuse watched silently from service doors, witnessing karmic justice unfold. "This establishment clearly needs new management," Richard declared, attempting to salvage his dominance. The membership database notification chimed softly on my phone. Another payment attempt failed, another check returned. Staff members positioned themselves strategically, anticipating the impending revelation. "When I speak to the owner about this treatment," he threatened, pointing fingers at various employees. Thomas maintained perfect professional composure, though his eyes betrayed subtle amusement. "Perhaps we should discuss your outstanding balances privately," he suggested diplomatically. Richard's response echoed off crystal chandeliers. "I demand to see the owner immediately." The ballroom's atmosphere crackled with tension as his wish approached fulfillment. Charlotte's jewelry suddenly looked costume. Their designer clothes appeared rented. Their entire pretense dissolved. Because true humiliation arrives not through external forces, but through the inevitable exposure of one's own deceptions. The golden key emerged from my pocket, its presence announcing truths they'd tried desperately to ignore. Sometimes, the most expensive lesson about character comes wrapped in self-inflicted consequences. The crystal ballroom's atmosphere shifted as Thomas silently positioned key staff members for the impending revelation. Security cameras adjusted to capture optimal angles while longtime members edged closer, recognizing familiar signs of overdue justice. My weathered toolbox remained prominently displayed beside expensive table settings, creating perfect contrast between authentic work and empty pretense. Richard's demands for ownership confrontation echoed off marble walls, each shout digging his social grave deeper. The golden founder's key caught evening light, drawing subtle attention from observant guests who understood its significance. Charlotte whispered urgently to Michael, finally sensing disaster approaching their carefully planned engagement celebration. Susan's increasing desperation showed through cracking social veneer as she frantically texted unseen contacts for financial rescue. The membership database continued displaying damning evidence: 37 rule violations, 42 staff complaints, 3 months of declined payments. Thomas orchestrated silent communication with department heads, ensuring every witness occupied strategic positions. Golf pros gathered near service entrances, tennis instructors lingered by beverage stations, restaurant staff positioned along walls. The evening's orchestra subtly adjusted their volume, providing perfect acoustic backdrop for approaching drama. Richard's business associates shifted uncomfortably, recognizing their own pending membership applications might suffer from association. My phone quietly compiled final documentation: bounced checks, declined cards, failed payment attempts. The general manager's tablet displayed comprehensive history of entitlement, abuse, delinquency. Charlotte's friends stopped photographing, instinctively sensing approaching social media-worthy moments. The Prestons borrowed luxury watches marked time toward inevitable exposure, while security teams monitored all possible exits. Long-term employees exchanged knowing glances, having witnessed similar scenes throughout years of service. The founder's suite door stood partially open, its exclusive interior visible to guests who'd never gained access. Richard's increasingly aggressive demands created perfect justification for ownership intervention. Susan's designer purse revealed empty credit cards, while their leased luxury car sat prominently in spaces reserved for actual members. Because sometimes, perfect trap setup requires nothing more than allowing someone enough rope to hang their own pretense. The golden key waited patiently, ready to unlock more than just exclusive doors, ready to open truth's floodgates. The moment of revelation crystallized perfectly as Richard launched his final tirade against club management. "This establishment clearly needs new leadership," he thundered, gesturing dramatically toward Thomas. My toolbox sat quietly beside imported china, its honest presence contradicting their borrowed elegance. The golden founder's key emerged slowly from worn coverall pockets, commanding immediate attention from long-term members. "Perhaps," Thomas suggested diplomatically, "you should direct those concerns to our owner." Richard's face reddened further, designer collar suddenly tight against expanding ego. "Bring him here immediately. I demand satisfaction." Susan frantically whispered warnings, recognizing dangerous territory approaching. Charlotte froze mid-photograph, social media forgotten as reality intruded. Michael stepped forward, finally finding courage beneath social pressure. The membership database displayed prominently on surrounding screens, revealing detailed history of infractions. Security footage began playing silently, multiple incidents of staff abuse, rule violations, entitled behavior. Golf pros smiled quietly, while tennis instructors edged closer, anticipating overdue justice. "Sir," Thomas addressed me directly, "how would you like to proceed with this situation?" Silence descended as understanding slowly dawned across pretentious faces. The Prestons' carefully constructed facade crumbled visibly, expensive veneers peeling away. "You?" Richard stammered, recognition finally penetrating artificial importance. "The maintenance man?" My calloused hands held property deeds rather than tools now, authority earned through decades rather than purchased. Because sometimes perfect execution requires nothing more than allowing false pride to orchestrate its own downfall. The Crystal Ballroom witnessed genuine wealth confronting borrowed status, real accomplishment facing rented success, authentic character meeting empty pretense. The Crystal Ballroom's atmosphere crackled with electric tension as decades of earned authority confronted borrowed importance. "Allow me to properly introduce myself," my voice carried quietly across marble floors. "James Anderson, founder and owner of this establishment, plus 50 other properties across 3 states." Richard's expensive suit suddenly seemed to shrink, his collar visibly tightening. "The maintenance work you've been mocking, simply my way of preserving personal connection with this place." Susan's designer jewelry lost its luster as Thomas displayed their membership status on surrounding screens. Charlotte buried her face while Michael finally straightened his spine, understanding dawning. "Your outstanding balance currently stands at $37,000, Thomas announced professionally. The golden founder's key gleamed beneath crystal chandeliers, symbolizing authentic versus pretended privilege. "But more concerning than financial delinquency," I continued, "remains your treatment of my staff." Security footage played silently, multiple instances of abuse, entitlement, disrespect. Long-term members nodded appreciatively, having witnessed months of borrowed prestige. "Your membership application," my weathered hands held damning documents, "contains numerous discrepancies." Richard attempted interruption, but authority born from decades of earned respect silenced him. "The luxury cars are leased, the designer clothes are financed, the social status is manufactured." Each word struck precisely, dismantling carefully constructed illusions. Golf pros and tennis instructors stood witness, while restaurant staff watched justice unfold. "This club," gesturing toward surrounding elegance, "welcomes wealth but demands character." The Preston's facade crumbled completely as financial records appeared on screens. Charlotte's friends stopped recording, suddenly understanding authentic versus artificial success. "Your membership," Thomas stated firmly, "has been permanently terminated." Because sometimes the most satisfying exposure requires nothing more than illuminating existing truth. Real accomplishment confronted empty boasting beneath crystal chandeliers. Genuine success faced fraudulent claims. Earned authority met borrowed importance. The following morning's sunrise painted different shadows across our country club's pristine grounds. Richard Preston's luxury cars disappeared from reserved spaces, leaving only oil stains as evidence of borrowed prestige. My toolbox returned to its familiar position in the maintenance shed, surrounded by honest instruments that had built this empire. Staff members walked taller, dignity restored through witnessed justice, sharing stories of previous encounters with manufactured importance. Michael arrived early, finding me replacing broken sprinkler heads near the 9th hole. "Dad," his voice carried new understanding, "I finally see what you've been teaching all these years." Charlotte chose different paths, unable to face authentic success after discovering her family's pretense. The membership database archived Preston family records under "permanently terminated," while security footage became training material for identifying similar patterns. Long-term members expressed quiet appreciation, recognizing necessary lessons in maintaining standards. Thomas implemented stricter verification protocols for new applications, preventing future episodes of borrowed status. The golden founder's key returned to its workshop hook, waiting to unlock future moments of truth rather than privilege. Golf pros resumed regular duties without fear of manufactured complaints, while tennis instructors scheduled lessons confidently. Restaurant staff served members with renewed pride, understanding their owners' hands matched their own in honest work. The Crystal Ballroom hosted different celebrations now, genuine accomplishments rather than pretended success. Susan's social media accounts went silent, no longer showcasing borrowed luxury against club backdrops. Charlotte's friends discovered authentic wealth whispers, while pretense shouts across marble floors. The general manager's reports showed improved member relations, Respect replacing entitlement throughout daily operations. Because sometimes strongest lessons emerge through quiet aftermath. When borrowed importance faces earned authority. When manufactured status meets genuine accomplishment. When pretended privilege confronts authentic character. Real success builds foundations, while pretense constructs facades.